Pretty cool, huh? I had to order online.
I actually don't have my house right now. I don't have my
How do you not have bacon in your house?
Up to the State House?
Look, I just
Yeah,
sell
what's
it.
going on?
I don't need that much.
My little mug.
I'm just a deal. Just take it away. I don't need it. I'm just
Anti-establishment.
eat all your profits.
Try to straddle both sides. That's what he was just saying. It's true.
When Taylor's judge died.
He was letting them go. He said, everybody knows it. But they know why with the court.
Derek, you the man with the blessing.
It's good to watch.
I
tried to talk to him.
Assumption that has people
You're fine as long as you don't sell it to anyone outside the state.
But Ian's also got that. So
Electronics is going to get so small and
Yeah, that's true.
it can't be sold.
yeah.
They like to pull the interstate commerce laws on you all the time. That's the only part of the Constitution.
Oh,
that
no.
don't belong to them.
That's so
They
sad.
only respect that one.
Wow. I think we're going to put out a string, you know.
No way.
What if your own son That's right. Yeah, you.
Towards it, Damo. Yeah, he was. He was very forgiving and helpful.
But he hung up and I chose to go to Jewish high.
They have been prosecuted.
He's on Carnival 8 and I also
The second one. And,
Trespassing, yeah.
was it
Right. Right. You're brushing your seeds on me. You're brushing your seeds on my eggs. Because I get tornado. If I get tornado, that's right.
still there. If they're asking for re-election, that and they made a comedy movie about Guantanamo Bay, maybe they should not support.
I'm writing it down.
really escaped Guantanamo Bay.
I have my post-it.
I don't know who all these people are.
Why?
Yeah, that would be interesting. A drug war stuff is my most interesting. I think that's what they stand for. Everyone knows Caroline Kumar.
There's only one that represents you.
Obama would put them in jail.
Get it right.
That was there, yeah.
I said a few words and
That's it. I mean, that's it. In a nutshell, that's the
He didn't
big
do anything to
hypocrisy.
defend himself.
Big
It's horrible.
hypocrisy.
represents me.
We're not. I wouldn't personally, because I feel I can't say stuff without getting the lawyer.
Yeah, but he could have prepared had a non-attorney him out as counsel. Right.
No.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice and easy? I would love to sit in the seat and do some live switching. Like, I'm sure they're all hooked up and you just plug in a live switch. Like, you can just switch between them.
If they do some sort of exchange, like we taught a parent right how to use it.
Rick.
And you can use it and get the video from it. But then they have to verify that no, you can't.
Rick is the
So is your neighbor or native?
bureaucrat.
Ian's neighbor.
Lee from Cheshire.
It's not my neighbor. I just met one.
They only know how to use it for the TV. City council.
Good, good.
Yeah, well, Rick would, I think Rick would show anyone how to use it. Especially if you work for Cheshire TV or volunteer. What's going on, Jason? Did I do that?
You're on the right place.
You're keeping me sharp, man.
All rise.
Thank you. Have a seat, please. Mr. Freeman, I forgot to ask your attorney. You got a motion to film, but you also have a case. Do you plan to man the camera yourself, or someone else going to do that for you?
If someone else wants to man it, that's fine.
Okay, but if they do it, they need to know, they need to have read the rules and everything, or does it just work by itself?
Well, I mean, I'm sure Kate is familiar with the rules. I don't know for sure.
Well, let's see where we go with it. Okay?
She's not.
All right, Ms. Surety,
Yes.
would you come on up here, please, along with counsel?
Sir, I also had a motion to record. I don't know if that reached your desk.
Actually, you don't even have to file, it's basically, it's a notice, you don't even have to file a motion anymore. So, I got your notice.
That's good.
Great.
Have those been granted?
Yep, they're not even motion.
You don't have to.
You have-
Okay.
You cannot, hold, I don't want to be misunderstood. Unless you file one of those notices, you can't do that.
Okay.
And yet the notice provides that you have read the rules that apply to filming and recording in the courtroom. And if you haven't actually read those rules, you can't file the notice because you can't agree to abide by those rules. So you can't do that. Did you file a notice?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. The reason I've asked people to the bench here is we went back, we only discussed Mr. Freeman's case. We didn't discuss your case, but as the issues developed, it became obvious that we need to have everybody here because of the similarity in the issues that we're talking about. Right? Now, this is set for a trial today. There's been a motion to dismiss on various grounds that Attorney Meyer filed on behalf of Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Understand that? Have you seen that?
Yes.
And do you join in that motion?
I fully support that motion.
There's also a proposal here for the parties, and the parties in this case mean the prosecutor and the defendant, Mr. Freeman, to jointly stipulate to the facts, certain facts. Have you been acquainted with that?
I have been acquainted with that.
Okay, and do you join in that as well?
I certainly support those facts.
I mean, in other words, I think Mr. Lauren indicated he was going to ask you to sign it. This has been signed by Mr. Lauren and Mr. Meyer. And he's been, because you're not represented by counsel, and make it clear Mr. Meyer is not representing you. And interest, many of the facts in this case look like they're very similar, but certain issues might be different for you than they are for Mr. Freeman. Understand that? So he can't represent you. Indirectly, you may benefit or not from what's happening, but you can't strip you out of your case.
Right.
So Mr. Lauren wants to see the other one if you wanted to agree to that.
Yes. Now, does this mean that trial does not go forward?
Well, that's the next question. We'll get to that. This doesn't necessarily mean that we don't go forward with the trial.
Okay.
It's just a stipulation of certain facts. There may be other facts that are not stipulated to that we need to know here today, this morning.
Okay. I agree with these facts.
All right. Now, I guess the next question is, what is going to be the scope of the hearing, if any?
Well, I think since Attorney Warren is the one with the burden of proof to present the case for the prosecution, I think we're going to address.
I remember the state was basically the state that we evidence on was indicated in stipulations that there was a trespass order that the department was served on the defendants. Courthouse grounds prior decision and authorization of the sheriff to be there in violation of the order.
And do you think, given this fact that stipulations have been entered in both cases, that further testimony is required? Again, it's your
From the
case.
state's perspective, no.
Even with respect to the motion to dismiss?
Yeah, the motion to dismiss.
What I'm asking is whether, even though he feels that these facts are sufficient stipulation to allow us to get to the next stage here, which is, I guess, address the motion to dismiss. Is that the procedure?
Yes.
Then the state, Mr. Lauren's office would have the opportunity to respond. Well, just tell me how much time, just to read it.
The state will also be forwarding our case on to the general's office to how issues that might go to the Supreme Court.
possibility of an interlocutory appeal, but still have.
Right, I mean, our position, I mean, I'm neutral on that.
Okay. So when do you think you know whether you would be seeking that as a response?
The state's going to be in touch with the House Division on the General's office, and determination will be made by that as to what they think will be the best way to proceed. And I should be able to have an answer to that within, I would hope, a week or so.
So let's agree that October 17th is the deadline. It's probably about right, okay? So and I'll leave you on your own on the interlocutory. An interlocutory appeal is something whereby one of the parties or parties agree jointly to have an issue addressed by the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court accepts it, even before you get to the merits of the hearing or something like that. So we would have to be in touch. We'd have to be in touch with this defendant also about that to see whether she concurred.
No, I would propose that the court schedule a hearing perhaps 45 days from now on the motion to dismiss, with the notation that the sheriff will be available to testify should we decide to call it.
Is the sheriff here?
Yes, sheriff is
We,
here.
it's being proposed that there be a hearing in about 45 days, and we need to check with your schedule.
What's the date? That's the issue.
Well, it should put it toward maybe early November might not be the best time for sure. Why don't we do it, how about the second week of November? Maybe a little longer than that, is that all right? Pardon me? Yeah. November 12th, are you available the week of November 12th?
Yeah, that's as far as I know, yes.
Okay. Well, we have to pick a date. We can. Is that the number? Oh, right. Two. Right. You'd have two judges there. So the motion to dismiss, I'm treating that based on the stipulation of the file as a motion of the intent to close the evidence. So you do have a copy of Mr. Meyer's motion? And you have to get a copy of the signed stipulation before you leave. You should have that. So the bail is converted to personal recognizance bail. It takes a while for the money to be sent back to you, so you have to go way outside and give them an address where they can have the money sent. It'll come from Concord. we originally had you at 75 Leverett Street in Keene. What would be your new address then?
You can send it to 11212.
That bail should be sent to me.
You want it
Hang on a
to send
second.
it to you? Will the check be written to you?
It'll be to me because I post.
Oh, hang on a second. Let me just take a look at how the bill is set up. Well, the way it's set up, the surety is Ms. Saratsky. If Mr. Freeman gave you the money to get out, then you have it's a personal obligation between the two of you.
It would be easier if the check could just go straight to him, but if it can't, then...
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll be able to do that.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
can have
Just update the surety?
You can have to set, you can't do that now. You'll have to settle up with Mr. Freeman.
You know what, they can send it to me and I can send you a personal check.
Just remember, Ms. Saratsky's filed her own statement of facts. Did you see that? But I take it, apart from what you filed here, the stipulation that controls is what we're talking about today.
There is nothing in my statement of facts that contradicts
Okay.
that.
All right, so once again, is there a PO box or something to send this to?
You can just send it to 11212.
What's that?
11212.
Yeah.
North 120th Place, Scottsdale, Arizona. 85259. 85259.
Okay, so it's going to be, right, and then, right, that's all set, we'll deal with that outside. Do you have any questions?
So,
The stipulation essentially obviates the need to have a trial testimony here today.
yes.
The motion to dismiss is essentially as if we had the testimony, the defendant, Mr. Freeman, filed a motion to dismiss, which you're joining in,
Yes.
and they have time to respond to that.
Okay.
Then the motion to dismiss will be heard, and that will be the November date.
Maybe the 14th, Wednesday the 14th at 9 a.m.
Wednesday,
November 14th, 9 a.m.
And on that date, will I have the opportunity to ask the sheriff some questions?
Yes, that's the purpose of the hearing, and that's why we make sure the sheriff will be available, because that's pretty much what the issues are about. And then the court will need some time to consider what the evidence is.
Okay, so I will have the opportunity to.
No, you're here.
Okay. I'll be here. Great. That'll work for me.
Okay. All set?
All set? Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Is that 9?
9 a.m. Wednesday, November 14th.
That was it.
Good luck. Thank you. Yeah.
So you're taking a flight down?
Yeah, I'm flying back down.
That's it. That's it.
Hoping she won't. Slight preparation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a great day, David.
And you as well.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
We will have our
Motion to submit on Friday. I've submitted motions to dismiss, and now my.
Is it?
I see Derek's motion to look sexy. It was approved.
So what's your story?
This is pretty.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
Sometimes it's
I
a
love the
skirt,
tie.
sometimes it's a
window covering.
State House?
Yeah, once in a while.
Nice.
Awesome.
Mark, I didn't see that.
I'm an awesome
I love
artist.
that. I'm gonna take a picture of that with you.
Oh, sweet.
That's awesome.
I have to go to Concord later this afternoon.
Hey, how come you don't get like an armed escort? You're a member of the LSD.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was.
Awesome.
Sorry
So,
about
do you
that.
get some armed escort, but you don't?
Well,
You're not a
just a
special.
new day out there.
That's what it looked like. They all walked out together.
Yes, it was.
No, not me. Usually when I hang out with you guys outside.
Hi,
so,
Isn't that true?
I feel
He's tired.
I feel safe everywhere else.
I'm a little tired.
Except in this building.
Yeah.
Right.
We went on a hike yesterday that was so great, and then arrived.
Well, we are still armed. We're armed with knowledge.
I like could have put my head down on the table
And
while I was
video
eating. I really could have.
I got like 2 hours sleep last night.
So, Mr. Warden, next Tuesday, are you going to be able to?
I'm gonna go get my coffee from the water fountain.
Cool.
So that was rather
Oh, you had to keep your
anticlimactic.
coffee in the water fountain.
Oh, it's horrible. It's an absolutely one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, I'm not even Muslim, but it was terrible. And the ridiculousness of that whole trailer. It was just